everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about Pamela Anderson. I'm going to just do like facts about her rather than full like series, because I think she's gone through so many lows, but she's also gone through so many highs. I'm watching interviews of her like now in the last like maybe 5 years. She's so positive and optimistic, and I just think before I researched anything about her, I kind of just thought she was a bimbo. That's kind of what I was just led to think, and her voice is quite soft and it's sweet, and it's kind of led to believe that that's Pamela Anderson's voice and that's who she is. But no, she seems to be super smart and intelligent and has done a lot of good for the world. And because I've been watching the Pam and Tommy, which I think their relationship could probably be a whole separate video because it's super interesting. But it's not the only marriage she's had as well. So I've just kind of compiled a few different things, and I will put in some interviews she's been in and stuff. There was a couple of things I read online about her that I will put in, but I can't say they're 100% factual because I either couldn't find the interview or a video of her saying that that thing happened. So there is, you know, trigger warning, there is some sexual abuse that's going to be mentioned in this video as well, for like her as a young child as well. For the most part, I think she's done really well in her life. I have my handy dandy little book here, a little bumblebee book. I realized today I probably could do with a little book stand in front of me that would help me kind of read my pages a bit more. So yeah, I'll just say everything that I know. And if there's bits that I'm unsure about because I couldn't find the evidence to back up what was in that report or whatever, or what website, because everything I do in these videos is just compiled off Google and YouTube and different things. So when I can find things that are really correct, I'll add them in. Or if I'm not 100% sure and I couldn't find it, I'll say that and we'll try work it out together. So I'm going to start off with, she was born in British Columbia, Canada, July 1960. So she's Canadian. I didn't know that. She is now an American citizen, but she lives in France with her French boyfriend, who's a football player. I think he's 18 years younger, so go Pam. Very handsome, but she's stunning as well. She's 54 this year, 55, and oh my god, she looks great. I don't care what anyone says about her plastic surgeries. I still think she looks incredible, and I think now she probably looks the most natural she's ever looked. I think one of the most recent interviews was the 60-minute interview, which the comments are turned off on YouTube, but I can imagine why, because there was a lot of controversial things she said in it, which I'll get into later on in the video. But I think that was probably one of the most recent videos, and I think, in all fairness, she looks shit hot in it. Come on, she was like 50s, in her early 50s, and she looks like that. If I look like that in my early 50s with or without plastic surgery, I'll be really happy. Starting off with her childhood, I kind of might go back and forth, but starting off with her childhood, her dad was an alcoholic, wasn't around a lot, and her mom was super overworked. And she said in a few interviews that her mom cried a lot and she just didn't know where the dad was. I don't know if they're still together now. I didn't look in any deeper to the parents, and just because I didn't think I really needed to for the video. When she was 6 years old, she was SA'd by her babysitter, and I'm using SA instead of the M word because I can't use it on YouTube, which is really sad. It's from the age of 6 to 10, and she said in an interview with Piers Morgan, I couldn't find the actual interview to this, so I don't know how true it is, that one day she basically wished that the babysitter would die because she just didn't want to go through the pain or the torture anymore. And the day after she made that wish, the babysitter was in a car crash. So I don't know the babysitter's name or anything like that, but when I'm looking up photos to add in, I might find it in between. But the day after, the babysitter passed away. So Pamela said she felt like she had some sort of superpower. So she was scared to tell her parents because she felt like it was her fault. And probably looking back now, I guess she knows it's not her fault. That's the case. I have 3 dogs in the house at the moment, and when they're all walking around, it makes me go, what are you doing? But I have to close the door to keep the heat in, and then if I keep them all in here, they keep jumping on me. So yeah, she didn't tell her parents because obviously her dad was a little off the rails. Her mom was super overworked, and yeah, so she didn't tell anyone that had happened until later on in her life when she was older. There was another story about her friend's boyfriend's brother, I think, assaulted her as well. And another time when she was in high school, when her boyfriend and his 6 friends assaulted her. Looking back at photos of Pamela, she has been beautiful her whole life. No excuse for what's happened to her, but she's always just been so beautiful no matter what. And I think it's just one of them things. She seemed like she's been a real kind, sensitive, soft soul her whole life, and I think that probably hasn't worked too well in her favor at the same time. From my research, I think they are the only times that she's been assaulted. I couldn't find any other time that she was. It doesn't mean it's less important that happened, but they were the only times that I could find that something has happened to her of that nature. So another thing that she's heavily invested in is Peta. Now, I've read up a little about Peta, because I remember a couple of years ago watching a video, someone like giving out about them. I think they do a lot of good, they just mightn't do it in the best way every time. So I don't think being part of Peta is the worst thing you can be a part of, because they do such good things for animals, and I'm all for the safety of animals, so I'm not going to shame them, although I might do another video on them, because I think the founder herself is super interesting. But again, I think it's just they don't think things through fully, but they always get it done. That's the one good thing, I guess. They always do what's right for the animals. She is a really big animal activist, and she dedicates so much time to the cause. There's been so many stories, so I've just picked a handful of things that she has done for Peta since being a member. So one of the main things is she's been against real fur since the 1990s. I don't know exactly what day or anything, but it just said at least the 1990s. So before that, there might be photos of her with a fur jacket, but I think it was really like the 80s, 90s was when, I can't remember the exact date that Peta came out, but I think it was around that time when it was starting to come out that, you know, you shouldn't be wearing fur because it's obviously really bad. She was awarded the Linda McCartney Memorial Award in 1999 for all her hard work with Peta. She also posed nude in 2003 for the Peta I'd rather go nude than I'd rather go nude than wear fur. I also remember, I think it was, I don't think it was 2003 this actually happened. I remember watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and Chloe did it, because I think she had just lost a load of weight and stuff, and she was asked would she do it, but I think that was more like 2012 or something. But this happened in 2003, and in 2006 she stripped down in England and protested Stella McCartney's boutique window display. And actually, when I was in college studying for hairdressing in Dublin, I can't remember the name of the boutique because it's not there anymore, but I will try look it up and pop it on the screen because it's literally just popped into my mind. Because I was upstairs, and then the downstairs building there was a fur boutique, and I remember there would often be a group of people protesting outside, and I remember I used to think, wow, that's really cool. So I was super shy and young, and I always thought to myself I'd love to join, but I didn't, because I always thought I just wouldn't have the confidence to do it, just protest. But I remember they were so ruthless because they used to hold posters of like animals, what they would go through. And I remember thinking, I never owned anything of real fur, but I remember thinking before seeing these girls outside this boutique, because I would see them at least once a week when I was in college, and I remember thinking before that, oh, I can't wait till one day I can own some real fur and go around and feel all luxurious. And yeah, I haven't ever owned a piece of real fur since. I think I bought something from a charity shop that had real fur, a jacket or something had some like real fur up here, and I remember trying to justify it in my head, so I was like, I got it in a charity shop, it's not that bad. But actually I don't think I could wear it for very long, because in my mind I knew what really happened in order to get the fur, which was really sad. And then there was an article about why she won't eat KFC to do with how they treat the chickens. And if you like KFC, don't look into it. Simple as, literally don't look into it. It's really bad. Like where they store hundreds of chickens, to feed everyone all this chicken. And you know what?
Anderson with Peta. You probably have heard of the Colonel's secret recipe, but you probably have no idea what goes into making a bucket of KFC chicken. Sadly, the main ingredient is cruelty.
But to be fair, you know all this stuff before you even look into it or before you put it into Google or look a video. Everyone knows all this stuff is happening because everything is to do with profit. You know, KFC don't make chicken out of the goodness of their heart. They do it for profit, so they're going to try and do it in the most effective and cheapest way possible, which is really sad because so many animals get abused. She does a lot of work with them. So in Canada, they do an annual seal hunt.
Hiding behind an army of bodyguards and cameras, that is Pamela Anderson. She made her way to the Brigitte Bardot Foundation in Paris, where the press soon found out she had a lot more in common with the 60s icon than just her famous assets. After years fighting to protect baby seals, Bardot's now passing on the torch to today's bustiest sex symbol.
I've never met Brigitte Bardot, and I have a few opportunities. She's written me letters, we've spoken, and this was the first time actually we spoke, but we both just have such a great love of animals.
It's really sad, especially when it's anything to do with like animal rights, and I think that's the purpose of animal rights, is to make you feel sad and uncomfortable about the situation in order to make it change. She asked the Canadian Prime Minister, his name is Stephen Harp, she asked to have a meeting with him about the annual seal hunt, and he denied her. What am I doing here? He declined to see her, refused to see her, but it didn't stop her campaigning on the streets in Canada. I can't remember exactly which city, but she did go out petitioning and asking people on the street, you know, how they feel about it. The next section of the video, I'm going to talk about her Playboy journey, and I'm going to talk about some of the scenes out of Pam and Tommy, because that was super interesting. And if that's all factual, which she hasn't spoke anything bad about Playboy, everything that happens in Pam and Tommy.
So Hugh Hefner was a little bit of a mentor to you.
Yes.
Sort of took you under his wing a bit.
So he was really extra protective of me. And spent a lot of time with me to be very careful, but it obviously didn't improve my choices in men.
Yes, I mean, you must have experienced the casting couch syndrome. You must have had people saying, look, if you do this, you can get this.
Oh, yeah. I've been offered a lot of money, even for a jacuzzi. You kidding? But I said, I would call Hef and go, why do they offer me $10,000 to go to have a jacuzzi with them? And he said, come home right now.
I've heard that, I've seen Pam isn't exactly happy about the TV series, so she's not talking about it or doing interviews about it. I mean, maybe she might want to stun on people, because I think people are getting really good reviews from it. I've spoke to loads of people that have watched it and they love it too. So, but I think she said it's bringing up some trauma for her, which is really sad. But we will touch slightly on that throughout the video as well. As I'm doing a Pamela Anderson video, I'm going to do a dark makeup. And I actually found my inspo on Bailey Tiberian's Instagram. And I love her, and she's my inspo for even starting these series. So, Pamela gained her actual fame by posing in Playboy in 1989 on the cover. She's like the most famous Playboy bunny ever. She's 14 times on the cover, and it said that like when people go to Playboy, I know Playboy isn't as it seems now, but if you look back in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it was most girls' dreams to be a Playboy bunny. It was like the thing you inspired to be. A Playboy bunny. I remember being really young and my sister loved it and would have like Playboy logo things everywhere. It was like super popular, and the TV show Girls Next Door came around. Just realizing now I should not have done my foundation. But anyway, so with the Girls Next Door, there's a whole different video could be done on Playboy like that. There's a lot of pros and cons, so I'm going to do 2 videos on Playboy. The good side of Playboy and the bad side of Playboy. Because it just depends what documentary you watch, and I think it's good to know both sides. But anyway, yeah, so back in the day, it was like the thing. Everyone wanted to be Miss Pamela Anderson. And in the TV series, when she first ever went to Playboy, she didn't actually have her breasticles done. And it was when she first went there for her first photo shoot, that's when she decided she wanted to get them done, and she told her mother, and her mother was all game for it. I did read in a little article that that's true. Her mom was all game for it. Nothing wrong with getting plastic surgery or your boobs done. Her mom seemed to be all for this life. But I think as well, back in the day, 80s, 90s, to be part of Playboy seemed like a real gateway into like fame and stardom, and to be a celebrity. Or to just be a Playboy bunny. And actually in the 60-minute interview, she was like asked, do you like being known as a sex symbol? And I think she makes a really good point. The comments are turned off in that video. You can really tell why from certain points she makes in the video or in the interview, because this guy basically spent 3 days with her, and she says, of course I want, she likes that symbol. And I guess now it's weird to hear, but she grew up in became such a famous celebrity in such a different generation. I guess it's kind of weird to hear someone want to be known as a sex symbol, but she did want to be known, and she loves to be known as a sex symbol still to this day, which absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would love to be known as beautiful as Pamela Anderson is known for. I don't think this is going as well as I hoped, but we're gonna keep going with the eyes because I've started and it's black, and if I stop now. So around this time she was named America's Beach Babe. Actually, I'm going to do this thing on the other eye off camera because I can't focus and talk at the same time, so I'll be back. So yeah, I had to take all the makeup off the bottom half of my face because it just was not working or playing game. I can't get both of them to look the exact same either, so don't come at me. It will work out in the end. Once there's lashes and some red lippy on, everything works out. So going back, she was named America's favorite Beach Babe, which is a cute name, and she really likes the title of being like a sex icon. And I think even her sex work now is really inspiring, like how she's helping people realize too much porn is bad. Well, it's like too much of anything is bad, so obviously. So she moved to Los Angeles in the early 1990s. Yeah. And she got a small part in the TV show Home Improvement. After leaving Home Improvement, she got the part CJ Parker in Baywatch. Fun fact, my nickname is CJ because my name is Colleen Jennifer. So that was a cool thing. She was on the show for 5 seasons, which is longer than any other cast member. She also starred in Baywatch in 2003 for Hawaiian Wedding, and she also appeared in the 2017 version of Baywatch. She also starred in a movie called Barbed Wire, which was quite successful. She was in Scooby-Doo, Blonde and Blonder, and SPF 18. Unfortunately, she didn't win any big awards for her acting. She did win a Razzie Award for Worst New Star and a Sour Apple Award. She wasn't really rewarded for all her hard work in the movies. And all in all, I don't think it still stopped her from becoming an icon that she is today. But I do think if the blonde bimbo phase wasn't around, just listening to her today talk, she seems really smart and intelligent, and I don't know if she still plays on the blonde bimbo phase. Even reading Holly Madison's book about Playboy, that was all the rage back in the day, like the early 2000s, 90s. It was all about being the blonde bimbo and not really speaking for yourself. So her 60-minute interview. So she says a lot in it, and I think if she had worded it differently, it probably wouldn't come out as bad as it did on screen. But I think the interviewer did really well in talking to her and stuff. So he basically flew to France for 3 days to hang out with Pamela Anderson. And he looks like the age of a man who's probably living his best life. So she takes him all across where she lives in France. And it's really scenic and picturesque. It seems like they had the best time ever, until she started to speak about the Me Too movement. You can see it from her point of view and also see it from other people's point of view when she said, you know, she has 2 sons and she hopes they never get falsely accused. But at the same time, let's hope your real answer should be, let's hope they don't do anything at all. I just think she worded it really wrong. And when she spoke about Harvey Weinstein and people going for interviews with him and how he acted with people and just how they should have known better, and that's the problem with the Me Too movement. And that's the problem with him as well, that, you know, he kind of made people feel he was the one in control and everything. I mean, he's a whole other video in itself, and I don't know if I even want to, because I've looked up different things about the Me Too movement and it's just sickening, really. But then there was another interview where she spoke about Harvey Weinstein, where she said that she was in the movie Superheroes and played the Invisible Girl, and she basically told him, no, I don't want to do this, and he said to her, if you don't do this, you'll never work in this town again, and that's why she did it. But it's really hard to defend her when she did say all that about the Me Too movement, because it's easy to say, I wouldn't go for an interview in a room with a man, that's not professional. Like, that's easy to say, but when you're new to Hollywood or whatever, it's hard to know what to do, I guess. I haven't been in that particular situation, but I can only imagine how difficult it would have been if this is the guy that will land your career and give you all the best movies you've ever wanted and to be in. And, you know, so I think that's just a whole separate thing, and I can understand why people were probably pissed at her for saying that, because it was really wrong. So she's been married 4, kind of 5 times. So her first marriage was to, obviously, Tommy Lee, who she had her 2 kids with. And I watched an interview where she was in an interview with Howard Stern, and she spoke about that, you know, she still loved him. So the battery in my camera died, so I finished my makeup and put on my lips and stuff. So she got married to Tommy Lee in 1995. Can't remember exactly where I left off in the last part of this video, but we're going to continue. Then she married Kid Rock in 2006 until 2007. That could be another video in itself. I read an article about their marriage. Crazy. It was like a crazy year. And then Rick Simone in 2007 until 2008. And then they remarried in 2014 till 2015. And then Dan Haythorst in 2020. And they are divorced, and now she's with her new man. And actually, in her 60-minute interview, the interviewer asked her, you know, are you going to get married again? And she said, oh, I love getting married, and I love getting dressed up. Just that she loves love, and she loves weddings, and that he has a ring. But she didn't distinguish that he had given her a ring, but she didn't like say an engagement ring, or she didn't say it wasn't an engagement ring. So that was exciting. She's a vegan. That's an important point. She's a vegan, but on Good Morning Britain, I'll insert the video if I can find it, she calls herself a naughty vegan since living in France, because there's so much pastries and like dairy is a big thing over there.
Are you a strict vegan?
Well, I do the best I can. I say I'm a naughty vegan because I'm living in France.
What's a naughty
there's
vegan?
Butter, there's croissants, there's all sorts of things.
Based on dairy, isn't it? Dairy and meat.
Yes, but you can make a good vegan croissant.
You can?
Yes.
You know, I always think vegans look really ill, but you're glowing with good health.
Another really cool thing I found, well, not cool. Cool probably isn't the word she used. But in 2002, she was diagnosed with Hepatitis C, and she had it for 15 years. And she said that she got it from sharing a tattoo needle with Tommy Lee, which is not good, as we know, to share tattoo needles or needles of any kind. Yeah, so she had it for 15 years, and then she went on a 12-week program called, I can't pronounce it, and she was cleared of it. So that was really cool. I had no idea that she had hepatitis C, but she was cured from it now, and she's all good. But all in all, from reading up about Pamela Anderson, I think she has lived a really cool and incredible life, and I don't think she realizes how beautiful she is. I think she understands that she's a sex icon and all that, but I don't think she fully understands what she did for the world being Pamela Anderson and just seeing her in interviews. I think she probably needs to get a little bit more sympathetic for people that have gone through sexual abuse and have been SA'd, considering she's gone through too. But I know it's like she might say things because, you know, she's gone through it and all that as well. But I think she just worded things wrong, and I think she's just scared for her sons in the future, when I think that's the problem. You know, stop trying to protect the men. And I know it does happen to girls as well, or does happen to guys as well, but stop trying to protect the men. Teach them right from wrong. And I think if you teach a little boy right from wrong at a young age, they're going to know what's right and what's wrong to do as they grow up. Yeah, I hope the last couple of minutes of this video has made sense, because it just died all of a sudden, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I think in regards to all our marriages, I think they deserve a whole video in themselves, because I think it's really interesting when someone gets married so many times. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. The makeup didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it, but I think it's still quite 90s-esque with a little bit of edge. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below. If you have another fun Pamela Anderson fact, comment it below. All in all, I think she's an incredible woman, and she does a lot for the world. And I think she's someone to admire, because I think she was just thrown into a horrible world and was ripped apart by the media for being a woman and having something of hers taken away, which I'll do in a Pam and Tommy video in itself, because I think it's unfair really that she was deemed that. And I think if that tape hadn't been released and maybe she wasn't given the title of a blonde bimbo, she would have went a lot further with her acting. I haven't seen like all of her acting, so maybe she was a crap actor and that's why she got the bad award. But I think maybe if things went more in her favour and people weren't against her and she wasn't ripped apart by the media, it would have been a lot better for her. But I'm going to end the video at that, because now I'm thinking of all different points that I could have added into the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.